Why people vote for Trump. They say in politics, liberals are the gas pedal and conservatives are the brakes. And I'm generally with the gas pedal, but not if we're driving off a cliff. On the trans issue, America is no ands, ifs, or buts about it, absolutely alone in the world now, an outlier country. Last month, England's National Health Service announced that there's not enough evidence to support the safety or clinical effectiveness of puberty blockers for third graders.
So everyone always talks about Canada like it's this shiny, perfect wonderland that America should totally copy. But Bill Maher wasn't having any of that on his show. He just went off tearing that dreamy image apart piece by piece. And it was kinda brutal, like he tossed the whole nice, polite Canada thing right out the window and made everyone watching squirm a little because, wow, he really said what others wouldn't.
It was where every woke white college kid wearing pajama pants outdoors who'd had it up to here with America's racist patriarchy dreamt of living someday. I mean, besides Gaza. There's only one problem with thinking everything's better in Canada. It's not. Not anymore, anyway. Last year, Canada added 1.3 million people, which is a lot in 1 year, the equivalent of the U.S. adding 11 million migrants in 1 year. And now they're experiencing a housing crisis even worse than ours. And we're sleeping in tents.
So right from the start, Bill Maher goes straight for the woke crowd's dreamy picture of Canada and just rips it apart. He starts talking about how their housing mess is out of control, all because they let people pour in like it's some kind of magic plan, and now they're stuck with a huge housing shortage that's only getting worse by the year. Like seriously, it's so bad. California looks cheap next to it, and people there are spending almost all their money just to keep a place to live. But somehow the woke folks still act like Canada is this perfect wonderland, and Bill Maher just laughs and burns that idea down to ashes.
Median price of a home here is $346,000. In Canada, converted to US dollars, it's $487,000. If Barbie moved to Winnipeg, she wouldn't be able to afford her dream house, and Ken would be working at Tim Hortons.
Houses in Canada cost so much, it almost sounds like a bad joke. The average place is already $500,000. And if you even think about living in Toronto or Vancouver, you're looking at prices that shoot past $750,000 and can even hit $1 million easy, while in the US, homes are way cheaper, around $300,000 or $400,000. So yeah, that shiny Canada dream doesn't sparkle so much when you realize most people can't even afford to live there. And the woke crowd keeps saying America should copy Canada. But come on, people can barely pay rent here. Imagine dropping Canadian prices on top of that. It wouldn't be a dream. It'd be a nightmare where half the country gets kicked out of their homes, and that's exactly what Bill Maher was warning about.
Of mortgage debt, Canada has the highest debt to GDP ratio of any G7 nation. I don't know what that means, but it sounds bad. So does their vaunted healthcare system, which ranks dead last among high-income countries in access to primary health care and ability to see a doctor in a day or two. And it's not for lack of spending. Of the 30 countries with universal coverage, Canada spends over 13% of its economy on it, which is a lot of money for free health care.
Turns out Canada isn't the flawless dream the liberal fans keep hyping it up to be, because those cracks in their perfect little story are getting way too big to hide. And what makes it wild is that Bill Maher isn't even some hardcore conservative dude. He's a liberal, the same side that used to cheer him on. So when he starts calling out Canada, it hits different, like maybe that perfect picture isn't just cracked. It's totally smashed. And he's not just talking to talk, he's basically holding up a mirror to America and saying, hey, if you really want to copy this, get ready for insane housing prices, broken promises, and a whole lot of regret. And the craziest part is, he's only just getting started.
I'm not saying Canada still isn't a great country, it is, but those aren't paradise numbers. If Canada was an apartment, the lead feature might be America adjacent. And if America was a rental car, Canada would be America or similar. And again, honestly, Canada, I'm not saying any of this because I enjoy it. I don't, because I've always enjoyed you. But I need to cite you as a cautionary tale to help my country. And the moral of that tale is, yes, you can move too far left. And when you do, you wind up pushing the people in the middle to the right.
People keep asking, like, wait, hold up, did Bill Maher just confess to turning conservative? Did he suddenly join the right side or something? But nah, that's not really it. What's happening is kind of funny and sad at the same time, because when the left keeps running deeper into their own wild fantasy land, even the people who used to be their heroes start to look like outsiders see when things get too extreme. It's not that these guys change, it's that the world around them goes nuts and suddenly staying normal makes you look rebellious, like Joe Rogan. Remember how he was once the cool poster boy for the progressive crowd? Now they call him right-wing just because he dares to ask questions, or Elon Musk, the man literally builds electric cars and rockets. The kind of stuff the left used to worship, and yet now they treat him like some conservative villain, all because he won't play along with the woke script. And that's exactly what's happening with Bill Maher. He hasn't switched sides, he hasn't betrayed anyone, he's just standing where he's always stood. But the left has sprinted so far off the deep end that anyone who doesn't follow them straight over the cliff ends up looking like the enemy, and honestly, that says way more about them than it does about him.
It's worse, Canada is what American voters think happens when there's no one putting a check on extreme wokeness. Like the saga of Canadian shop teacher Kayla Lemieux, whose pronouns are she, her, and those. Kayla is now back to being a guy named Kerry, but 2 years ago, when they showed up to teach children, the progressive high school they taught at said that they, the school, not the person. Really, you couldn't have found another word. We were using that one. Anyway, okay. They were committed to a safe environment for gender expression. Safe for who? What about the children?
This is exactly what happens when everyone starts making up their own rules about who they are and expects the rest of the world to play along like it's some kind of game, and the result is total confusion. Nobody even knows what's real anymore. Imagine being a student and your teacher walks in one day dressed like a woman saying everyone has to use new pronouns, and then the very next day, he's back to being a man, like nothing happened. The poor kids are sitting there thinking, what on earth is going on? This isn't education. It's like watching a play that keeps changing scripts halfway through, and instead of feeling inspired, everyone just ends up lost and awkward. And here's the kicker. This isn't happening in some faraway fantasy world. It's happening right up north in Canada, the place American liberals keep calling their perfect dreamland. But when you actually look closer, it's all a mess. Sky-high house prices, families crushed by debt, classrooms turned into identity experiments, and politicians treating real life like some social lab project. And still the woke crowd in America stares at Canada like it's heaven on earth. But if this is what paradise looks like, then it's built on chaos, confusion, and a whole lot of wishful thinking. And Bill Maher was just saying what everyone else is too scared to admit, that maybe before America tries to copy Canada, it should actually take a good hard look at what's really going on behind that shiny, polite smile.
Why people vote for Trump. They say in politics, liberals are the gas pedal and conservatives are the brakes. And I'm generally with the gas pedal, but not if we're driving off a cliff. On the trans issue, America is no ands, ifs, or buts about it, absolutely alone in the world now, an outlier country. Last month, England's National Health Service announced that there's not enough evidence to support the safety or clinical effectiveness of puberty blockers for third graders.
Bill Maher was spot on, because Trump didn't just win by accident, he won because a huge part of America, including regular moderates and even old school liberals, were just done with all the woke noise coming from the left. The Democratic side turned itself into this endless circus of identity fights, cancel culture, and fake moral points, and people were exhausted. It wasn't just the right rolling their eyes anymore. Even the middle crowd started walking away, and the young voters who were supposed to be their forever fans stopped caring, because who wants to be scolded every 5 minutes for saying the wrong thing instead of acting like leaders? The Democrats started acting like teachers, handing out detention slips for bad opinions, and the truth is, Americans don't vote for people who lecture them. They vote for people who listen, and by the time the left figured that out, the rest of the country had already moved on, looking for someone who actually spoke their language.
All the other good place countries in direct opposition to America's choice to affirm children's wishes on switching gender, no matter the age or psychiatric history. The far left, which always like to use, well, Europe does it, Yeah, no, that doesn't work on this one anymore.
It's kinda wild when you think about it, because the same woke folks who keep bragging about how other countries are so much smarter than America totally ignore what those countries are actually doing. Like Sweden, Finland, and the UK, the big names they love to call progressive heroes have already stepped back from pushing gender treatments on kids. They looked at the science, realized the risks, and said, yeah, maybe let's not mess with children's bodies until they're grown up. Some even banned it completely till adulthood because protecting kids turned out to be more important than making activists happy. But here in America, the left keeps acting like this is the future, pretending the whole world agrees when really, even those so-called enlightened places have already hit the brakes and learned it's not worth gambling with kids just to look woke.
Immigration. Sweden opened its borders to over 1.5 million immigrants since 2010, and now 20% of its citizens are foreign-born, and its education system is tanking.
It's crazy how people still call open borders compassion when all it's done is turn America into a mess. Fentanyl is everywhere, destroying families and towns, while the left keeps pretending it's not happening. Bill Maher was right. A country that can't guard its borders can't keep its people safe, and when safety is gone, everything falls apart, from Canada's broken dream to America's chaos. The woke idea of paradise isn't saving anyone, it's just dragging everyone down. And what America really needs now is less pretending and more common sense. And if you want more stories that cut through the noise and tell it like it really is, then stick around, because this is Jacob Reports, where we keep it real, break down the madness, and spill the truth. So hit that like button, tap subscribe, and stay tuned for more wild takes coming your way.